My name is Tony. This is my 2017 Acura NSX, and you're watching ANSWRD. So the story is that I found this car. This is a 2017. I found it in Chicago, March of 2018. So being last year's model in winter in Chicago, it was definitely in my favor. So the good news was Acura was offering the dealerships $30K off as an incentive to get buyers to buy this car. But that's Acura's money, not the dealer's money. So the dealer gave me another $30K off. So I got this car for just under $150, not bad for a 207 sticker. At $200K, you have a lot to choose from. And when you're battling against Porsches, Audi R8s, even used Huracans, it's a tough pill to swallow to get people to spend that amount of money on a Honda, essentially. But my first car was an Acura. My first car was an Acura CL 96, 97, Acura CL 3.0. And I've always liked the NSXs. They've been on my locker room door. It's just been a car that I've always kind of fawned over for quite some time. That and the incentives that Acura was giving, it was kind of a no-brainer. It's funny because I think that one of my favorite parts about the NSX is that it gets a bad rap. That, you know, there's not many on the road. People say, it's just a Honda. Should have got an R8. Should have got this. Should have got that. But you know, when you drive your car, you want it to be special, right? And not seeing another car like mine on the road, I think that's also one of the reasons that swayed me away from a 911. Amazing cars, but in Orange County, you throw a rock and you'll hit 10 of them. So it's kind of nice driving around and having an underrated car. Probably because it's an underrated car. A lot of people smack talk about the NSX, right? You should have bought this, you should have bought that. Well, if it's your money, you can buy whatever you want, buddy. But yeah, it's a pro and a con.
Wow, this thing rips. Goodness. Woo. All right, well, we are now inside the NSX.
In case you forgot.
This car is a blast. I was not expecting that. That actually feels great. Anyone who talks crap about this car should ride in one and then talk. It sounds great. That threw my stomach in the back completely. So, have you modified this NSX?
Yes. So it's tuned, full exhaust system, 3-inch exhaust system, custom made. I've done everything that you can do for the NSX. So starting with the suspension, I have an iLift kit from Science of Speed. It's an air cup kit. Raises from this height, which is 1 inch below stock, to an extra 2 inches, all four corners, so front and rear. Outside of suspension, I have Symbolo X Scuderia forged monoblock wheels. I also have a partnership with Toyo. So Toyo supplies the R888s, which I go through every about 5,000 miles. The exhaust setup is a custom exhaust setup, ceramic coated, heat wrapped, because the trunk gets pretty hot. So definitely don't want to get groceries as your first part of your trip because they will be cooked by the time you get home. Power-wise, I have a JB4 by Berger Motorsports. No one's been able to crack the ECU yet, so you know the only way to tune this car properly is to have a piggyback. But it's running the JB4, runs a multitude of different maps up to a 98 map, and on the 98 map it makes about 700 crank. Other than that, I have a meth kit with 50-50 meth and water just to keep things cool. And that's pretty much it. That's all that's pretty much available for the NSX. It's a small market out there, so not a lot of aftermarket support. So whatever is available, this car has it.
And when it was stock, could you hear the exhaust? Could you hear that blow off in the exhaust and stuff stock, or was it too tame for you?
Time out. Make sure to subscribe for next week's video where John shares his BMW E36 M3 that's been fully gutted and is fun both on the street and the track. Now back to the NSX.
Yeah, the second I put in the downpipes and then the air drop into air filters, that's when all the swooshing and the spooling and all those sounds came out. Stock, it's actually pretty tame. It has a nice tone to it, but it's actually very quiet.
Got it.
Yeah, and actually the story I heard is, I haven't confirmed this, but this car was designed here in the US. It was built right in Ohio. designed by a lady designer. She ran the design team on this
Right.
car. But the story I heard was that they designed the car, and then they had, you know, the Japanese bigwigs come over, and then they heard the car and they thought it was too loud.
Uh-huh.
So they said, tone it down.
Wow.
It's too loud,
Yeah.
too out there, right? Japanese are more conservative, right?
Right.
So that story sounds believable. I never confirmed it, but
Uh-huh.
it makes sense. But yeah, the car is pretty quiet, stock, and definitely this is a much better. It's an improvement on the sound, definitely.
Yeah. What would you recommend as the first mod if someone were to pick up an NSX now, total stock?
You know, for me, sound plays such a big part in the driving experience. That's
Right.
why I love my AMGs. Just that throaty V8 coming out those cars was amazing. That's why a lot of those high-pitched NA cars, 9,000 RPMs, just sound so great. So I think the first mod on this car should be downpipes. It definitely opens her up a little bit, gets you that sound that you're missing, or the volume. The sound is there, the volume isn't there.
Got it. Yeah, so only if you have like the radio off and it's just you can hear a little bit of the whooshing when it's stock. What's a misconception you think people have about this generation of NSX?
Well, it's funny. I always hear it's a slow car. It's a slow car. It's a slow car. So stock, this car does 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, pretty much flat. I think Acura advertises like 2.8, 2.9, but it's typically around 3.
Okay.
And then it is a quarter mile, a 11-second flat car. So it's pretty quick for a stock car.
Yeah.
Tune, I haven't really done timed runs, drag strips, or anything like that. But I've seen, I think the fastest NSX that I've seen in a quarter tune is 10.56.
Okay.
So mid-10s on a tune car is not bad. And then people have been getting, I think 2.7, 0 to 60 on the tune cars.
Wow. And you have how many miles on the car now?
I have 30,000. Yeah, just 500 shy of 30,000.
Clyde asks, do you think that this car will appreciate in value or be as sought after as the first gen NSX?
You know, I don't know as much history as I probably should of the Gen 1, NA1, NA2s. But what I hear is, obviously now everyone knows that, you know, that's the Acura Halo car. The market's been great on those cars. You can still find low mileage clean examples for over 100K.
Yeah.
And even ones that have a little bit of wear and tear on them are still going for 60, 70K. So they still fetch a pretty penny. But from what I recall and some of the feedback that I hear online is when it first came out, I mean, it kind of got the same welcoming as this car, whereas, you know, who's going to spend $60,000 on a Honda? Right? Which is the same as everyone saying, who's spending $200,000 on a Honda today, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like history repeating itself. And it isn't after, after time that people started appreciating the car and the different special editions like the Zanardi edition and all that. So over time, it seemed like people appreciated more the NSX. I think that's going to happen over time, but I think it's going to take some time.
Yeah. And Clyde asks, would you rather have the NSX or an AMG GT? And I think this is a great question because your car before this was
an AMG GT. Yeah. AMG GT was great. Mine was tuned, downpipe, and everything. I can't leave a good car alone, so I always got to mess it up. What I noticed with the AMG GT is that once tuned, it's torquey. It's a torque monster, almost unruly. I would be definitely on my toes in the canyons. Getting on the gas too hard out of a corner, my ass might catch up to my front. But getting this car all-wheel drive, very confidence-inspiring, much more usable power. This car definitely puts out more power than my GT, but I can use it every day. I can use it all the time. I can use it at every stoplight that turns green, right?
Yeah, literally.
which is nice. So if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't even think about it. I would do another NSX before I do the GT. Now, if you said GTR, that's a little bit closer. but yeah, definitely NSX over a GT.
Yeah, and you find this car pretty satisfying to drive sensationally? Like, I mean, I know the sounds are there and the speed is there, but is it exciting still after 30,000 miles?
Yeah, it is. It is. I still have a lot of fun with it. You know, I think the next car would be more raw and hardcore car, but I never really thought, hey, my next car needs to have a lot more power than this car.
Yeah.
It needs more get up and go than this car. Like, there's not a lot of cars that have as good get up and go as this car, right? So
yeah. And Mike asks, don't you wish you bought a Ferrari or any other supercar?
The funny thing is, my buddy owns a Ferrari 458. Great car, super flat. I took it into the twisties a bit, and it handles real well. And it screams. You know, again, that whole audio part of it just counts for so much of that driving experience. But man, I love the instant torque from this car. Getting off the line, he doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
I have a half-mile drag race video of me and my my other buddy. A 458 tune, exhaust and everything, and off the line, it's like he's standing still. It's like he's sleeping at the light. So, no, actually, I don't. It's 458, great car, but I don't think if I was gonna do it again, if I go with the 458.
Yeah. Okay. And if you had a $10,000 check that you could spend on this car and modify anything else, or create a mod or change the design of the car, something that maybe doesn't exist because you already did almost everything possible, what would you do?
If there was turbos for this car, I don't think that'd be 10 grand, but yeah, turbos for this car, I would definitely put the turbos on. Other than that, technically, you know, even though the blue's nice and I have the yellow accents, it's stock, right? There's no lips, there's no big spoiler, so I wouldn't mind putting some more exterior aero on the car. Again, you know, there's not a big aftermarket support for this car, so there's not a lot of options. But getting an aggressive front lip, skirts, maybe a bigger wing would be nice.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think that answers a lot of people's questions about the NSX. Hopefully other NSX owners enjoyed, and viewers who don't have an NSX or haven't experienced one got the sensations from this video. It is a fantastic car. It feels great from the inside, and I'm really impressed with it. Oh, actually, last question. If someone came to you with another car and said, I'll do a straight trade, what would that have to be for you to consider?
Straight trade?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm always going to want the upper hand, so, you know, I've been eyeballing the 600s. I would definitely do a trade plus cash for 600. I don't know. There's not a lot of other cars out there that excite me. I think we're a little jaded being here in Orange County. There's a lot of great cars out there, but you see them all the time. Yeah. And you know, you get a little numb to them a little bit, right? So, but yeah, I would definitely love a 600 LT Spider. I think that'd be the perfect OC car to rip around in, take into the canyons, especially the top mount exhaust. Yeah, that's really the only thing that's on my list. Not even short list, just list.
Yeah, awesome. Well, the next time you see him in a video, hopefully it'll be in a 600 LT. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.